Hello, listeners of the Art Versations podcast. Welcome to another Art Versations, a meditative conversation about the artistic process. Thank you for joining me and clicking on this show. My name is Bri, like the cheese. It's always a pleasure to have your ears, listener. Just want to put out a quick plug. I'll be teaching theatrical contemporary classes on Halloween Monday, as well as November 7th, the following Monday, from 12:45 to 2:15. The class is for movers who act and actors who move. We'll be wearing costumes, making something from nothing. It's a lot of fun. Sign up in the link of the episode description and join me. Okay, enough about me. This week, I've got a really fun one for you. Originally from Mexico, this dance educator and graphic designer founded the Fifth Dance here in Toronto. It's one of the only studios to offer adult ballet classes and other styles, ranging from absolute beginner to advanced. She spoke to me about her early career in Monterrey, how she is fostering a community of creation, and where classical ballet stands now. Truly enjoyed sitting down with her in her living room, joined a few times by her wonderful dog, Luna. Hop on board with us. Here is my chat with Sarahi Cárdenas.
Oh my gosh, she really wants to go for the microphone. Luna.
Oh my
Wait.
gosh.
Luna, can you talk? Luna, talk. Luna, talk.
I got it. I love it. Hi, Sarahí.
Hi, Bri. How are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me in your space today.
Of course. You can thank Luna because she is the queen of the house.
Yes, we do have Luna on the pod as well. Luna's actually in the other room right now, but she might come and join us
on something.
She's so sweet. Yeah, I'm so glad that we can do this and sit down together.
Of course.
How are you doing today? How's your body feeling?
Funny you should mention. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm good. I'm doing good. I'm feeling well. Just started a morning of classes at George Brown in Ballet. I woke up this morning with my neck with a little kink, and I was like, oh, that's new. But then again, that's the wonders of getting older and waking up with a new ailment.
Oh my gosh.
Every day.
And it's even just like the way that I sleep.
Yep.
It's like I'm not doing anything.
Yep, exactly. And that's that.
Oh no.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
Yesterday was my shoulder. Today is my neck.
It's moving
It
places.
just goes around. You know? What comes around goes around.
Even pain.
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I feel you on that. My body is, and I just cracked my elbow. My body is like adjusting to the season so horribly. So every time I go to class, I like have to make sure I'm like actually warming up and like taking time for myself and the cool down. Mm-hmm. That's something that I haven't like properly implemented into my class taking, and like it's a must now.
It is. I remember the days when I used to like go into rehearsal like cold, like out of the car, rehearsal, point shoes, full out. Yeah, no, not anymore.
Not so much anymore. Yeah. And you just were telling me, thankfully, that you are hopefully going to get a new space for the Fifth.
Yes, so today is an interesting day because on Wednesdays I usually have meetings with the realtor. Today there is not a meeting. They are just bringing papers back and forth for me to sign and read and all of those things. We are reviewing the lease for the new space, and we could have it sooner rather than later, which is exciting and also terrifying. But yeah.
Wow. That's so exciting, especially since you've been having to move so many different times and in so many different ways.
Yes. I not by choice, because like if we could have, like, I would have loved to stay in the distillery a little bit longer. But you know, that's what makes us us, and that's why we keep on going with the flow. And as I always tell everybody in my classes, just chill, and it will sort itself out. I would hope.
That's a great way to look at, like, having class and taking class is that it is what it is, and you have to trust the process, you know?
Yeah.
But before we get into the fifth, I do want to ask you a little bit about how you became to be an artist and your early career in that. You studied in Monterrey for many years and got your graphic design degree as well as a fine arts degree.
Yes.
And tell me about how you came from that into moving to Canada.
Well, that is a long story.
We got time.
Well, I did my ballet education at the Escuela Superior de Música y Danza de Monterrey, which is kind of like the equivalent of what MBS is here. In Mexico, we have the National Ballet School of Dance. And Escuela Superior, it's kind of like a sister school.
Okay.
So, and it's in the north of Mexico, whereas the national school is in Mexico City.
Okay.
So yeah, and it's, you know, like a regular ballet school, 8 years program, and you graduate and you hopefully get into the company, which I did.
Soon after, right? Like
right
away.
right after.
Wow.
And that was one of the times that I was ready to quit dance.
Oh my goodness. Wait, go back. So you were studying and for 8 years in love with dance and then started to hate it or have a weird love-hate relationship with it. But then you get this big role in the company.
For 8 years in love with dance, that I don't know about that. Because, you know, like when you go through ballet school, it's a love-hate relationship. A lot of things happen, like a lot of politics, a lot of traditions, a lot of whatnot, right?
Yes.
I did go to the rock school for dance education in Philadelphia for 1 year.
I've heard good things about that school.
It's a fairly known school. It has a good reputation. A lot of I probably am the least accomplished of my classmates.
We're gonna love ourselves on this podcast today, even if it's so hard.
In terms of like, a lot of them are principal dancers right now in like Boston, like, you know, ABT, San Francisco, things like that.
All the big
which
names.
I mean, it's amazing. It's great. Yeah. It's amazing, and I love them, and I still keep in touch with a lot of them.
Nice.
So yeah. So yes, I went to rock school, which I was on my 7th year in ballet school back in Mexico. Depending on who you are, maybe you could have come back and then just graduated because you did that extra year abroad. But not for me. I was never a favorite, and so they made me do an extra year.
Okay.
So I did 7 in Mexico, 1 in US, and then came back for an extra 1 in Mexico to graduate. At that time, I was very done with dance, or so I thought. And I actually, which this might surprise you, so I was on my last year of ballet school in Mexico, but I had finished high school already because I had that last year that I was not in high school. You know, even though I was going to graduate with like a degree in fine arts from our school. My mom was still like, you know, you kind of have to study a real career.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So
that conversation came up.
And at that time, I did go to university for biogenetics or I went to like a science school. Like,
and you finished?
No, I just lasted for a year.
Understandably.
Yeah, because eventually like I graduated ballet school, and then because I was biogenomics. There you go.
Biogenomics?
Yes.
I don't even know. I don't even comprehend what that is.
Yes.
Okay, so that didn't happen.
So that didn't happen. Cool. While I was at uni for that first semester, I can't remember good the timeline. Anyways, I was doing biology school, and I wanted to keep on taking ballet class because I was already graduated from ballet school. So I went to the company as a director. Can I come take class? And he was like, absolutely, if you do the performances. Because I was done. I was done with class. I was maybe taking some drop-in classes here and there. And then I was like, well, all my friends are taking class in the company. Can I just go and take class and have fun? And that's it. Be done with it.
Right.
So yeah, the director was like, yes, but you have to do the season. And therefore, like, he just gave me a contract. Yeah.
Okay, so it kind of worked out.
It kind of worked out. And I was like, okay, well.
Even though you just wanted to take class.
Yeah.
And so how long were you dancing with the company?
7 years.
Oh my gosh.
Years?
Yes. So you kept going? Did it start to become more of a loving relationship as you were performing, or was it still?
Yeah, because, now I know that when you are mad at dance, you're not mad at dance. You're mad at the people that made some situations uncomfortable or not very pleasant.
I'm sorry to hear that.
No, that's okay. And that happens to all of us,
It does.
And I think that is a normal part of our careers. Unfortunately, hopefully it doesn't have to be in the future. But yes, I feel like a lot of us go through that.
You joined the company and then stayed with it for 7 years.
Yeah.
So there was something there. There was something that you enjoyed about it.
Absolutely. I have to say that now I'm able to say that I had a wonderful career. I had so much fun. I know that now I know that dancing with my friends is what I appreciated the most about dancing.
So important.
So yeah, it was a great run.
Even if there were relationships that.
Yeah, but
it does happen,
and also it's not necessarily always about other people. Like, as you grow as a person, as you grow as an artist, like, at some point I was a little bit toxic myself, and I wanted to be casted in this role, and if I wasn't casted, I would get upset. And of course I was making that situation not the most pleasant for myself, like, what else are you gonna do? Just work for it, girl.
Well, you wanted so bad. I know that feeling where it's like, I will do anything to get this part or this section in the piece. And then I think to myself, why am I sacrificing like relationships or like self-care just for this one thing that's going to be gone after it's finished,
Exactly.
It's so fleeting, like it's the beauty of performance, but also we put so much, at least I do. I put so much like sacredness in this one moment, and then what does that do to my body and my health?
Oh yeah,
and
the mental health, which was something that we were not talking about back in the day, right?
I see. Yeah.
So yeah.
I'm glad you had friends, and that became like the driving force of your passion. And then you came to Toronto and you were dancing in ballet organ for a bit.
Yes.
Very cool.
The reason why I came to Toronto is because we had a change in direction in Monterrey. The new director one day, and the way I built my career was by knowing everything at all times, like if...
Type
I
A?
know it all.
Are you type A?
Overachiever? I will say that I am not.
Okay, cool.
Because now, lately, I noticed that I am not detail-oriented. Like, I think I'm much better at looking at the whole picture rather at the details. But anyways, yes, like I built my whole career of knowing all of the spots and all of the choreographies and everyone, like every time that there was somebody hurt, and I could just jump in, right? And whether they liked my dancing or not, they had no option.
You're like, I know it, put me in coach.
So
okay.
And so this new director, he was not into that. Like, he would not let anybody who was not called for rehearsal to even watch that rehearsal, right?
I see.
And the little rebel that I am, like, he will not allow people to be marking in the back. You know?
Okay.
Yeah.
That formal, that strict.
Yeah, very, very strict. Which now I understand that that's how they do it in fancy, like, bigger companies and whatnot, because it's respect for the principal dancer who is actually doing the principal role. Because of course, I will always aim for that.
Right, and like it might be distracting to watch other people on the side.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay,
I understand where he was coming from now.
Right.
Of course, back in the day, I did not.
I mean, you want to do the best job. I get that.
Yeah.
Like, totally. Yeah.
Okay. So I kept on doing it, even though they say no. And then one day I get called into his office and he was like, listen, it's you or me, and I am not going anywhere. And that's where I knew. I was like, you know what? I am not I don't think I want to stay here. Because also, that was the last little straw. Because when this person came over to direct, he made it very clear that he was not interested in short dancers.
Oh, that whole thing.
Yeah. He fired my boyfriend at the time just for being too short.
Wow.
And that was literally it.
It's so out of your control.
Exactly.
Like height.
Exactly.
I got that too. I was always one of the shortest. Mm-hmm. Someone, I was in an audition once, and one of the casting people told me that my torso, the space between my shoulders and my hips, wasn't long enough.
What?
So I started like always standing as tall as I could and like breathing in and like never exhaling, and like it's just like so out of my control to be able to be that for you.
Right.
So, okay, fire me then. You know what? I mean, as long as I have another job waiting, but like,
right. Like even if you didn't have another job waiting, like, do you really want to be there?
Yeah.
You know?
That's the thing, right? That's the space I don't want to be in. Yeah.
Exactly. And that's exactly what kind of like I was, this is it, because I was not the only short dancer that he drove away, so
sorry to hear that.
No, that's yeah,
but
I'm
also like, get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, right. And so I started sending videos, as you will do, and like things. And Ballet Jürgen invited me to come and audition. And I remember we were like in between shows. So I finished a show in Monterrey on a Sunday. The Monday morning, I was on a plane. Audition on a Tuesday. Came back on Wednesday. Thursday, we were out on tour.
Oh my gosh. Wow. So you weren't even in Toronto for very long.
No.
And then you were back on tour. Wow.
And I don't know what Bengt saw in me to the day. And I will say, and this stays for the record, Bengt is one of the best artistic directors that I've ever worked with. A lot of people have a different opinions. I understand that. And everyone's experiences are valid. But yeah. Bengt was the first artistic director that ever asked me, how's your body? How are you feeling?
That's so nice to be able to answer that question to a leader of the space. Yeah.
Wow. And like, again, a lot of people don't have that experience, but I did. And I am so happy that I stay in Canada.
I'm glad you're here too. I'm glad that you found a journey coming here and a job coming here and a reason for coming that made you feel like you could be heard and seen and safer and healthy.
Yeah. It was great.
So important.
Yeah. And then I met my husband and, things happen and
life
that's
took off.
Life took off, literally.
Life took off. And is that when you started to realize that you wanted to also open up your own dance studio, or did that come a bit later?
I don't know where that came from, because my whole life, like quite literally out loud, I will say, I will never own a dance studio.
Oh, really? That's so funny.
Yeah.
So you were like dead set on, I'm never going to own one.
Yeah.
What, that's so much work. Yeah.
Foolishly enough. I will never have my own studio. And then a few years later, look at us.
Look at it
now.
The Fifth. I love the name. I think it's so...
Thank you.
Not only accurate to ballet training. I think you had mentioned too once that you named it that because of it's your home. You come back to Fifth as the home base. But I also think it's catchy and kind of like, what you're getting when you hear the Fifth. It's a space that you mentioned as well. It's a space where no one person fits the mold, but rather create it with their own expression of movement.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful.
That's what the Fifth is about.
It's about creating. It's about allowing a space for people to create. And I think in terms of Luna shakes, that's your expression of movement, Luna, and I love it.
Scratch and shake.
Yeah, what I love about the Fifth is that it's very communal. It's about community. And I think in terms of my experience with ballet training, there's usually less of that, and there's such a emphasis on fitting a mold. So when I found out about your studio and about the atmosphere that you create, I immediately was like, oh my gosh, I need this right now. I need that kind of environment for my training to take off, especially as an adult who's going back to ballet, because I did it for so many years as a teenager, and then I fell out of love with it because I didn't get hired and I didn't fit the mold.
Right.
So I wanted to find a way that I could fall back in love with ballet and use it as a training tool rather than something that I aspired towards. And so I started taking classes at your studio, and it just felt so right. And I'm just so glad that and grateful that you've been able to create that space. I think a lot of adults, non-dancers as well, because you have so many levels.
Yeah. We have from absolute beginner to advanced professional dancers.
That's so great. You know, like it's not just for the like prima ballerinas who do everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you didn't want, you funnily enough didn't even want to open a studio.
No.
But then.
I was not into that.
Not at all. Complete 180-degree reverse.
Right.
You started the studio. Where was the first location? Because I know it's moved around.
We were at this studio that's called Steps.
Okay.
And it's on Young and Bloor and Young-ish. And they are actually a great studio if you want to ever learn salsa and all of like Latin dances. They are the best. Good plug. Please go to Steps.
Amazing.
So we were there for a year, like not even a year, because we were not even a year old when the pandemic happened.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was back in 2019.
Yeah, we opened in May of 2019.
Oh my goodness.
And then by March of 2020, we were all at home.
Oh my gosh. So not even a full year of like open classes.
Yeah, we had a cute little Zoom get together for the first year of anniversary.
You kept going. You did.
Yeah.
You had to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then amidst all of the craziness of the pandemic, how did you stay focused on that same goal of like community and being together, even if we couldn't have been?
I don't know. There's a lot of questions that I don't know the answers to.
Could it have been how great your faculty is? And
Okay.
I don't know if that's enough, but I feel like it in my experience it was.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know.
I will take that. No, just kidding. No, but yes, I always like to say that it's never about me. And as a dance teacher, I understand, or at least one of my values is that as a dance teacher, it's not that you don't matter, but it's always for the dancer. You know, it's like, it doesn't matter if I am a dance teacher and I still can kick my legs up. No, that's not relevant, you know, or what my career was like, you know. So yes, and I think most of our teachers think that way. I think they are very, not concerned, but like very aware of meeting the dancer where they're at. And I think that's helping creating that community, because when you feel heard and understood, you feel comfortable, you know?
Absolutely.
So yeah, definitely the amazing faculty that we have, definitely the students that we have. When the pandemic hit, we were one of the first ones to offer the Instagram Live classes.
Yes. Yeah.
I think we were locked down on a Monday. And then by Friday, Eric's class, he offered the first live from Instagram.
What a quick turnaround.
Again, I don't have the answers for a lot of questions. Like, how do you know? Like, what make you go to the Instagram? Yeah. I don't know. I was like, let's do this.
You're just trusting it.
I don't even know. Some people will say I'm foolish. Some people will say I'm brave or too trust. I don't know what it is, but I feel, and this is often my case, that I don't understand. I don't fully digest what I'm either getting myself into or like what I'm doing until I am very deep in it. So like,
you kind of have to just dive in.
Yeah. Because for example, that happened to me when we did the summer intensive this summer.
Okay. This was the first of its kind, right?
Yeah. Of like for us at least, we had like a summer intensive, a full week with 2 different choreographers, 3 different teachers for technique. The choreographers spent, I think, 3 hours each day with the dancers. And it was a legit program, and it was like a good offering. They had a show at the end of the program, and then the day before the show was like, oh shit, we are offering our first show as a dance studio school, whatever this is.
We're doing it.
And yeah, we're doing it. And I didn't know how this happened, but hey, here we are. And that's usually my life. I don't know how this happened, but hey, here we are.
Well, it's probably a better way to make things happen. I think a lot of my hesitation like pulls me out of actually finishing things because I have to like overthink everything. So I like commend you on having that skill to just dive
Again,
in.
some will say foolish.
A little bit of foolishness, a little bit of ignorance, turning into all of these opportunities. You have so many support funds too. Like you have the scholarship fund for students to come in and like.
Which people, like, I'm going to open that, like, I'm going to make a post again for that. But like, nobody really took advantage of that. And I want people to take advantage of that. So I will do that.
You've heard it here first.
Yeah.
Go for it.
There you go.
Because not many studios offer that. So needed, especially in the times that we're in. And as well, the community support fund that people should donate to. Absolutely. And giving support to those who can't take class so that the community just grows. It just keeps growing.
Yeah. And that's kind of like, for example, the community support fund, my idea for it was for people to be able to take class for like a subsidized price or for free, you know? But then now I'm thinking like, hey, it can also help fund the emerging teacher program, for example, because sometimes, because it's a donation-based class, the emerging teacher program, maybe sometimes we don't get enough to pay the teachers because I believe in paying the people who are doing the job. So if you are teaching a class, you should get paid no matter what experience you have. And sometimes we'll have one or two people, and that might not be enough for paying a teacher. But then if we have the community support fund with some funds, that makes up for it.
It's like that cycle of being able to give back to the community of artists who come to take class and then uplift them into being teachers. Yeah. Going to the intensive, you know. Yeah, there's such a like rotating door in what you've created, which is so accessible for all. And I think that's so important when we're taking class, that it becomes, again, that just like that community where we can support each other rather than put up the hierarchy and be like, okay, so you're the principal dancer and you get this much, and the people at the bottom of the corps de ballet get this little, you know, like that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Power,
we're all humans.
Exactly.
We all deserve the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
With human bodies who need to be training properly, healthily, and safely.
Totally. No, absolutely. I don't believe, and not shame whatsoever, but, you know, sometimes competitive studios, they look for teachers who are for the competitive or for the recreational.
Yes, very elite.
And I don't believe that, like, I don't care if I'm teaching a principal dancer or a recreational 5-year-old. I'm going to give them the same quality of training. And that's that, you know?
Yeah.
Because why would we have different tires, you know, like, or different anything?
Yeah, we all deserve to be able to train in whatever, at whatever point you're at in your training. And, you know, for me, like, I come and take class and I feel like I can use it in whatever way I need it at that time. I'm not coming to class and being like, I need to impress and I need to, you know, live up to this expectation. Just going back to the emerging teacher program that you spoke of, I just think that's such a great way to, again, like build that cycle of, okay, these are students who come to class, but now they can start to develop their own practice as teachers. Yeah. How did that start? When did that start? Do you know?
I was going to say, I don't know.
I love it. That's okay.
I'm sorry. This is probably not what you want to hear.
Oh my gosh, not at all. I love the process. Tell me more.
Speaking of process, because you were asking me, like, what is my creative process?
Yeah.
And I had no answer, as per usual.
I'm expecting that at this point. That's all good.
But I think I know. My creative process is coming up with new things to do.
Okay.
And then just doing them. How getting there or how to do them, I don't know how about that. But yes, I think that's what I do.
Just random bursts of inspiration.
Thoughts.
Yeah.
Yes.
Love it.
Which, if you've taken my class, you know about the shower exercises. Like, it's when
it just comes.
It's when I'm in the shower.
Yeah.
I'm like, washing my hair, whatever. And I'm like, ooh, a balance here, a pirouette there. And then, of course, I cannot mark this exercise in the shower because I'm going to die.
A little too much space, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, and the emerging teacher program, it happened like that too, because I was like, I think it will be cool if we have like young teachers or like not experienced teachers, because I don't know if this is something that we have in the city. I feel like in general, not just here in Toronto, but I feel like in general, the gap from finishing school to starting your professional life, whether that is with a company, freelance, commercial projects, whatever, I feel like there is a gap in between. I cannot quite express what it is, but yes, a lot of people go into teaching. A lot of people go into teaching children first. But then they want to keep on working with their peers. And what happens when, for example, an artist like you is ready to start your own creative process of your own piece or your own company, you know? So I would like to be, as the fifth, we would like to be that place where you can, start creating your language, your thought of process of how to express what you want from the person on the other side. So yeah,
it's so incredible and so needed. It also allows for so many different kinds of teachers to come. Like you were telling me on the Zoom we had the other day, that jazz teachers were coming up, and not just contemporary and ballet.
Yeah.
So there's just so much flexibility in this program. I think it's incredible.
It just goes to show how limited our brains are, or how we kind of create our own boundaries. Because in my head, when I put this open call out, was for contemporary teachers.
Right.
And that was my thought.
Put up that wall.
Yeah, exactly. And then I also always underestimate every time I put this call out. There's a lot of response, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah. Okay, I want to accommodate everyone.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can, but yes, we can do this. And so we've had teachers teaching heels class. We've had people teaching contemporary, but inspiring Bollywood, or
so cool.
jazz, different kinds of teachers. I have one student, she's not part of the emerging teacher program, but I have one student who wants to teach classical Chinese dance.
Awesome.
And I think that's super cool, because I don't know nothing about it, but yeah, let's have it.
Same here, and I want to take the class.
Right?
And allow that person to come into the community.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Totally.
So yeah, that's what happened with this program. Again, I don't know how that happened, but it happened.
You just dove in, had a shower thought, it came up. I think it's great, and I'm very excited to teach my own classes. I'm so excited that I get to be on Halloween too.
Yes, you get the Halloween class.
Yeah,
that's super fun.
And then us afterwards the November 7th Monday. So come out to class. We're gonna do some crazy creative process stuff and probably wear costumes because it's Halloween.
Yes, please.
I'll put the link below.
I was gonna say, this is the plug. Best costume wins a free class.
Oh, there you go.
This is our little tradition.
I love it.
Yeah.
So is that an Instagram thing?
Yeah. I'll put everything, and I'm actually thinking of doing that in the newsletter soon. So
sweet. By the time this comes out, go check it out.
Yes.
Get those costumes ready.
It'll probably be on Instagram already by the time this podcast goes out. But yes.
Perfect. I will link it below.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's really important that there's a cycle of opportunities and programs happening. And like you said, the summer intensive. Are you also going to have a winter intensive coming up like you did last year?
I don't know.
Not sure.
Maybe. I don't know how things happen, but what I will say is that for both the summer intensive and for what it was going to be the winter intensive, that we didn't end up having because
of COVID.
January lockdowns.
We gotta do it this year then.
We gotta do it this year, but I have to say, as usual, it's not only always me behind the scenes. Those intensives are in collaboration with Natasha Punwu. She, I don't know if she knows this, but she is my co-runner of intensives, and specifically talking for contemporary intensives. Co-director, there you go.
There it is.
Wow, English is not happening for me these days. I apologize.
It's all good. English, I hate English. Like, I hate it so much.
It's interesting.
I feel like I have to use those to be an actual English speaker. Yeah, and you also have photo shoot events happening too. The mini sessions, is that what they're called?
Yes.
I love that. How's that been going?
So I think it's been going great. The last one that we had before we moved out of the distillery, it was a sold out. And in fact, we had to add a spot because somebody was like, I really want to do it. And yeah. And I was like, okay, let's just do it.
If the interest is there, yeah. Totally.
So yeah, like I say, I think my thing is coming up with things. I have a little bit of a passion for event organizing. In another life, I was a wedding planner. That's something that you might not know about me.
Big extravagant wedding planning.
Yeah, and I planned at least a couple of weddings, all of my own.
Nice.
Like for somebody else, like a client kind of thing. So yeah.
Like that, it takes a certain kind of person to be able to do that. Like, truly.
Yeah.
There's just so many little departments to it. So I can see, if you're good at coming up with things, you're able to kind of just like have your eggs in different baskets all at the same time, like multitask.
Again, might be foolish. Who knows? Remains to be seen. No, but yes. And so the mini sessions started because one of the things that I think I want the fifth to be is to be able to offer our artists like either continuing education or like good quality services, just like such as a professional photo shoot, but not for the price that usually go like $300 or like $500. I don't know, because honestly, we all have to, pay the bills and take class and do the photo shoots and self tapes and whatnot, and that piles up.
It does.
And I mean, as a freelancer, we don't have the most stable incomes.
Nope.
So,
especially when a COVID pandemic comes in too.
Totally.
Yeah.
So that's how the mini sessions came to be.
Who were the photographers?
The first photographer was Colton West.
Okay.
He used to be a dancer with Ballet Organ. And then because he had an injury, like from before, and then at some point it kind of like flared up so that he had to stop dancing, and he started he's always been doing photography, but then he started doing it more seriously. An amazing photographer, like dance photographer, as you know, those are very hard to come by.
Well, and I'm sure he used his experience as a dancer himself, right? To like be able to capture those angles. Cool. Yeah. Colton West. Okay. Yeah,
Colton West. I think his Instagram is still Colton West Photography. I don't know if he's still doing photography, honestly, because he moved back to US. He was American. Okay. Yes.
And the other sessions?
We've done 4 mini sessions, if I'm not mistaken, so far. And the photographers for the last few ones, is Tiffany Manankil and Ryan Manankil. Okay. They're cousins. So Tiffany, she's also a dancer. She went to George Brown Dance, and she danced as a mentorship student with Ballet Organ. She's danced with Ballet West in Montreal. She has her own line of dancewear, skirts, tea and thread designs.
Cute.
And she is a photographer. Right?
Okay, wow.
She does it all. Tiffany is amazing.
Yeah.
reminds me of myself, I guess.
Again, like that ability to do so many different things at the same time.
Yeah.
That could be, that's not me. Like it truly could be, but it's not me.
So yeah, we wanted to do this. Also, I have this ability of forcing people into doing things. I was like, hey, Tiffany, we're doing this.
You're able to bring people on your team. Yeah,
Yes.
Exactly.
They might be like, I don't know about this. And I'm like, it's okay.
You're like, I don't know why I'm doing this, but you're coming with me.
Yes, let's do this.
Sweet.
So yeah, that's how it started with Tiffany. And then because Tiffany is a dancer and like she didn't specialize in photography. However, Ryan, her cousin, he is in film and TV around the city, so he has a lot more knowledge on all the technical aspects of lighting and this and that. So we do it all together as a team, and I take care of the logistics, and then they do their magic.
Yeah. Always need someone to do the brain stuff, and then the creative stuff comes afterwards. Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's so important to have people on your team. I realized, like, I can't do this shit alone.
No, it's a lot.
It's so much. And on top of, like, if I was running a business too, like, it's just so interesting that you're able to, like, keep these things happening. But yeah, it's probably because of the people around you 100%. And your ability to lead, like your ability to have a bunch of people around you.
Some may say that means bossy.
Okay, here we go. There's a topic. Bossy people get things done.
I guess so.
But in the end, like the derogatory term around bossy, you know,
which only gets assigned to females.
Exactly.
Right?
I was just about to say, like, we are bossy in the quote unquote way that it seems bossy, so that that person can be the lead and can look over everyone and supervise everything. But if that person wasn't there doing that and being quote unquote bossy, it wouldn't get done.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe.
And I mean this like in the way that it's like as a female too, like we are allowed to be bossy. We're allowed to be controlling if we need to be. I like wish that term didn't become so negative, you know, especially for someone who's literally owning a business that has like so many different parts to it.
Yeah.
Like, do you find yourself like having to check in and be like, oh, actually, I'm allowed to like take control right now because it needs to get done and this is my business?
I guess so, in a way. But like I mentioned before, I feel like the most important part about owning a business or being a leader is the team, right? And not only having a great team, but also trusting completely on your team. The only thing that comes to mind where I'm like, yes, I have to step in is, for example, right now that I was going around like trying to find a space for the fifth again.
Right.
And you know me, for those of you who don't know me, I am 5'1", little yappy dog. No, just kidding. But you know, like I don't necessarily look intimidating or like a person of power or whatever. And while finding, thanks God, our realtor, like she's also like a female. She understands me. Like we have a great relationship. But going around trying to find a place is a lot of male, older, white,
Absolutely,
middle-aged people, you know.
Yep.
So they kind of will look at me and like, who's this child? And then some of them did ask me very, very intense questions, or like not intense questions, but like they were very intense on their questioning, as if like, who is this child running a business kind of thing. And that's where it comes out of me. I'm like, listen, I know what I'm talking about. Like, like, you know, that's it.
Listen to what I'm saying instead of judging me for the way I look or the way I come across.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know that feeling. And yes, they're all white and men and probably much older. And I feel like in my experience, I've had to really like put up a wall and guard myself because I have to play the game. I have to come across as if I do know my shit. And that's where the bossiness could come across, or the anger, or the feeling of like, I need you to hear me out, and I might get emotional, and that's okay.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You know? Yeah.
I get emotional all the time. And that is okay.
That is okay. It's okay as females. It's okay as people. It's okay as business owners. Like, I think the more that we can be open and vulnerable, but also guarded when we need to be. Like, I'm trying to figure out that line, that balance, because I don't want to be so guarded off that I'm like not approachable, or like,
I think what's important, and we might be getting very far away from topics, but I think
we are.
I think what's important is,
and that's okay,
just kind of like just feeling your feels, you know,
Yes.
whatever they are. Maybe not even reacting to them, but feeling them, acknowledging them, you know, and then maybe taking time, because you know what they say, you shouldn't take important decisions when you are super angry, super happy, or super in love. Please don't do that. Don't do important decisions when you are like madly in love.
I need to hear that. On a personal note.
Anyhow.
Yes, totally. Yeah, we're getting off topic, but I think, as just females, like, it's important to like stand our guard and recognize that like the emotions are okay and they're allowed in the space. And when we're training too, like, I think as a teacher myself, like, I'm trying to make sure that my students are know that they're allowed to talk and ask questions and be emotional when they need to be, and like check in with me about something that they need. Whereas like a lot of my classes when I was a student, I was told to shut up and be a wall and be stoic and robotic. And that part of that maybe comes from the competitive training that I grew up in. So yeah, it's like, I think teaching practices are shifting. They're shifting more towards healthy bodies and safely teaching, especially in ballet, because it's such a like rigorous training, and it can be so hard on the body and so harsh on the body. Like, how do you find yourself advocating for healthier practices in dance?
First of all, checking myself and like my own like preconceptions, I guess, or like what it lives on my body and my brain as it should look like this, it should look like that, and reminding myself that we all live in different bodies, you know, first and foremost.
Yeah.
So checking myself, like starting at home, I think that's where the change really happens. And then, you know, voicing my concerns as if, because if you've been in my class, and when I know that there is somebody who's never taken my class, I always state my rules. I'm like, there's only one rule in my class. Feel free to disregard of anything that I say. And yeah.
I love it. It's so important as if adults are in the room too, to like be like, hey, you're here for you, not for me.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, saying like, I'm going to offer you something. I'm going to present something to you, but this is your class. So
yeah,
throw it away if you want.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
And because also like advocating for like things to change and healthier practices, I have no control to what everyone else does, but I have control of what I can do and how I approach people and how I try to see things that work for people. Because sometimes maybe I like my instinct or what I was taught will be like, oh, it's supposed to be this way. But no, you know, we can always find a place where we feel more comfortable. For example, like talking specific about ballet, I am of the idea that ballet shouldn't be uncomfortable on the body.
Ooh,
you know?
That's huge.
Yeah, because like when you see a prima ballerina, do you see them uncomfortable?
They mask it so easily.
Either they, like, because of course, a lot of us dance in pain.
Yes,
and that is just a part of the job, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But there is like that line with like actually feeling comfortable on your body, like the movements are not hurting you, And I think that's what I would like to work more on. Like, how can we all, as collectively humans, but also as individuals, find the way that works best for our bodies, you know?
So important.
And this is something that I want to study maybe in the future, like more about like body structures, bone structures, musculature, or and how many different configurations in life there can be, you know, like just the hip alone. Some hips are more shallow, some hips are deeper, some femurs are different, you know.
Right.
So, and that makes a difference, you know?
It does. It affects the way that they're going to engage that muscle. Yeah. I love what you said about like all bodies can do ballet and all bodies can move, and recognizing that we don't have to fit a mold to be able to feel comfortable. And yeah, no, it's something to like, oh, you said so much there. It's so hard to let go and unlearn what I was taught when I was younger, because it meant so much to me at that time, and it like seemed right. It seemed like the training that was going to send me forward to success. But it's such an evolving style.
Yeah.
And the way we teach it is evolving.
And I hope it evolves, because otherwise it's going to die. As much as I love ballet is my life. It's what I do. And now I love it.
Yeah.
I still love it, you know. But if we collectively don't do something to like progress with the times, not just like culturally, socially, physically, mentally, it's going to die. Because people realize, now that we are a little bit more aware of things, people very soon realize that we don't have anything in common with ballet, you know, and people are just not interested in things that they don't have things in common, that people that things that you can't relate to, you know.
Right.
So yeah, if ballet doesn't keep on changing, and hopefully a little bit more speedier pace, it's going to die.
It comes from such a like old school mentality, and like it came from a very elitist, royal background and the history of it. So is it needed now?
Maybe not.
Maybe not. And like, how do we grapple with that? And how do we also like change it so that if it still is needed in some way, we need to change the way we teach it then.
Absolutely.
Like you said, because it's going to just filter out. It's going to be something that humans and dancers will not need.
Exactly.
If we continue. Yeah.
And a lot of it comes from the sake of tradition.
Yeah.
This is how we used to do it. This is how my teacher taught me. This is how my teachers told them, you know?
Totally, yeah.
And again, times have changed. Like, as humans, we evolve, and we may kind of look the same as the very first ballerinas did, and not even actually. The bodies back then were very different to the bodies that we see these days.
Yes,
you know?
and the shoes were made differently too, especially with point shoes.
Yeah. So why will we keep those traditions? Not because we've done something a certain way for thousands of years. Does that mean that is A, correct, and B, that we should keep on doing it the same? You know? Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, I love ballet too. And it's like, I feel weird about saying that in some ways, because I'm like, why do I love it?
And proud.
You know, I'm always like, oh, I should hate it because it's very Eurocentric and white, and it's very, like colonial in that sense. And then I recognize that how should I change my relationship to it then? Because if I love it still, and it reminds me of being like a kid and flying and being a fairy, then I need to look at it differently. And especially too, when I teach it, like I really have to make sure my students know, like, your body is functional to be able to do this. Like, I'll usually say a disclaimer of like, I'm not going to offer you a service where I change your body to fit the mold of whatever it was back then. I'm going to offer you a service where you can train your body geared towards it.
Yeah.
So that they're safe. hopefully, like it terrifies me when I will go to a class sometimes and the teacher is like, you have to like open those toes to the maximum fifth. And I'm like, what are you teaching these kids?
I know.
You're teaching them to hate their bodies.
Yeah.
To start off by saying your body is not right for this. That's going to completely destroy their passion for it. Yeah. So thank you for all the work that you do to make sure that it's healthy,
Yeah. And that's, for example, because I guess we've stated that I like science.
Yeah.
I always have a passion for science.
You almost went to school for it.
Yeah. And now that I'm older, I realize that all throughout ballet school, the only thing I remember learning about my body was to hate it.
Wow.
Whereas now I know that the things that I'm interested in learning about my body is how it works.
Oh my goodness. What a reframing.
So yeah, that's
huge.
that. And hopefully we can all, at the very least, not teach kids how to hate their bodies.
Oh my gosh, at the very least. Yeah.
At the very least. Although, maybe unpopular opinion, I am of the idea that if you are going to be a movement teacher, you should know your anatomy.
Yes.
100%.
Oh my gosh. There are so many dancers who can't teach. And they shouldn't teach.
Yes.
Because they don't have either the education or the perspective of it is an anatomical style. When I trained in anatomy or when I studied it at school, it made me look at dance and teaching so differently because it's functional.
Yeah, it's functional. And I mean, again, you probably see it on my Insta bio, like I am an anatomy nerd. And what that means is not that I know everything. I don't by any means, but
how could you? It's always changing too.
It's always changing. Like the research is always changing. But also, like I feel like I need to feel it on my body first before I need to understand how my personal body works before I even try to teach it to people. And perhaps that's something that a lot of teachers don't spend time in. And not to say that I'm perfect and I always do that, because I don't have enough time to study. I wish I had more. But yeah, like teachers should have at least a certain knowledge of anatomy, or at the very least that joints, articulation, anyways.
They need to go past just saying pull up.
Oh, no.
Which I got so much when I was growing up,
My pet peeve word of the day, no, just kidding, is squeeze. I cannot.
Squeeze what?
Squeeze your butt? Like, excuse me, man. Do you know how many muscles we have there just in the butt? Like, no.
It's such a broad term. It's so vague. What do you mean squeeze?
I don't use the word squeeze ever. So yeah.
I get that. Yeah. Thank you so much for advocating for those kinds of practices and hiring people who also do that, like going back to just the team. I think the Fifth is such a great community because it comes from the people that are a part of it. They bring a sense that we can all love dance and work hard and learn and evolve, not just fit a mold and aspire to be, the prima that was created centuries ago.
Absolutely. And on that note, I have to say that with my last round of interviews for the Emerging Teacher Program, it made me so excited for the future.
Yay, positivity?
Yeah.
Good, optimism.
Because you had one of those interviews.
I did. I very much enjoyed it.
And I love hearing these young teachers speak about what's important to them, why is it important to them, and how are they planning to put that into action. There's this one emerging teacher, and they have a degree in anthropology. Ooh. And that made me very excited.
That's a unique perspective.
That is a unique perspective, and I cannot wait to have them. And maybe taking their class.
Do you know when they're teaching?
So not this Monday, the one after. The 2 Mondays after.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Yes.
by the time this comes out, then their classes might have already
Yes,
come and
might
passed.
happen.
But if they come back,
Yes.
let me know.
And again, a part of why I really like the emerging teacher program is because now I want to have them all for me. It's like a Pokemon. I want to have them all.
Gotta catch them all.
Gotta catch them all.
All the emerging teachers.
Get them to teach more. So yeah.
I love it. Yeah, bring more people onto your team.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, definitely check out those classes, listeners, because I'm teaching and you can come and play with me on Halloween. And there's so many other great teachers coming up. So check out the 5th Instagram.
Yeah.
You also have a website. You have a YouTube channel too.
Oh yeah.
Just on that note, I just want to say I loved the series you did, Talking with the Stars.
Oh yeah.
I think that was so cool during COVID to keep the conversation going.
Mm-hmm.
So fun.
I mean, and again, that was one of those projects that I'm like, what do I do next? And like I say, for that 1 year that I went to rock school, I was fortunate enough to get to meet a lot of cool people who are very accomplished dancers, and I had the chance to talk to a lot of them while we did the Talking with the Stars, and because we were all in different parts of the world and sitting at home, then we all had time.
Yes,
so that was great. Yeah,
all had time to stay connected.
Yes,
and to keep talking and keep the conversation about art alive, because at one point I was like, oh my gosh, the arts are gonna die within all the COVID stuff. So yeah,
that
so
will
important.
never happen. The arts will never die because arts is what moves the world, and
yes,
and because it cannot be replaced by robots.
Yes, no AI, please. Yes, yeah. All of the offerings that the 5th have, it will be on the Instagram and the website and the YouTube. Is there any other places that people could engage with you or engage with?
No, just kidding.
No, do it. Shameless plug, honestly.
No. Yeah, I don't know. On the YouTube channel, we do have a few classes there.
Ooh, free classes just to take.
Yeah.
Oh my
free
God, amazing.
classes from ballet to, I think there's a few stretch and strength classes. So cool. If you want a class of those, we do have a gallery of classes, and I don't advertise this anymore, but we still have the whole library of a bunch of classes that we did during the pandemic on our website, which is of course password protected. Not just kidding. If you want that gallery, access to gallery, either message me, I'll just give it to you.
Okay.
Or if you want to make a donation for the community support fund, then that's it,
I will link that all in the description. Thank you so much.
Of course.
This was so needed.
Thank you.
And overdue, I feel like.
Oh, thank y'all.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Oh my gosh. I feel like, we always see each other in passing. So yeah, thank you for making time.
And private lessons.
Yeah. The many times that I would show up to class and I'd be the only one signed up and I would just have an hour and a half with Sarahí and I could just pick your brain.
Sorry.
We had some fun.
Sorry you had to go through that.
I loved it. I didn't have to pay for a private lesson fee.
Right?
I'll take it. Yeah. And is there anything else you want to promote too, just as a soul artist and not just with the 5th?
No, I think that's that. Not for myself, but support all of the artists that you have around yourself. Because if we don't support each other, nobody will. If you like the 5th, come to classes, my people, because we have to pay rent. No, just kidding.
Yeah. And you have to pay rent of the new space that's coming up.
Yes. No, but aside from that, yes, if you have spaces that you love, don't let them die. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Thank you for everything you shared. And check out the 5th, y'all. It's so great. I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art Versations podcast. Please help the podcast community continue to grow by clicking subscribe or follow on your podcast platform and leave a review. As well, follow the podcast on Instagram at ArtVersationsPod. You'll find photos of the guests you just heard, plus highlights and quotes from each episode. Let's keep the art versation going. Send in a DM with your thoughts about art and any questions you might have for guests. Special thank you goes out to Jen Marquez and Maxim Bartnowski for their contributions. And thank you, listener. Till next time.